All right, my next guest doesn't do fluff and he doesn't do boring. Scott Eddy is one of the most trusted, outspoken, and refreshingly no BS voices in hospitality. He's built a reputation by saying what others are thinking and challenging this industry to market smarter, sell differently, and get a hell of a lot more human. So buckle up, y'all. Scott Eddy is in the house. Hey, man, how's it going?
I'm going good. Thanks for having me, man. I appreciate it. This is long overdue.
Indeed, it has been. Welcome to the InSync Show. I appreciate you spending a few minutes with me. And let's jump right in here, my man. Has the line between sales and marketing basically disappeared?
I think organizationally, the line still exists. But from the buyer's perspective, yeah, I think it's basically disappeared. The buyer doesn't care whether the first thing they saw came from your marketing department, your salesperson, your CEO, a podcast, a LinkedIn post. They just know they started seeing you. Then they started paying attention to you, and eventually they started to trust you, right? That's the part I think hospitality companies are still struggling to understand. We keep thinking about sales and marketing as two separate departments because that's how we've structured companies forever, and that's not how people buy anymore. Think about how somebody actually buys something today, especially something in the B2B hospitality. They might follow you on LinkedIn for 6 months, watch a couple of your videos, hear you on a podcast, see you speak somewhere, Google you, visit your website, ask 3 friends privately what they think about you, and then finally reach out. I don't know about you, but that's the way I get business. Most of the people, the first 3 sentences of every email that I get from people that I don't know is, I've been following you for years. Finally, I had up the nerve to sit down and send you an email, blah, 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 blah. Okay. By the time they actually talk to a salesperson, 70 or 80% of their opinion might be already formed. And you can actually take out might be, it's already formed. So who made the sale? Was it marketing? Was it sales? Was it the CEO who posted something 6 months ago? Was it the customer who recommended you privately? The answer is probably all of them. And this is why I think salespeople need to understand marketing much better than they did 10 years ago. And marketers need to spend a heck of a lot more time talking to salespeople. Your salespeople are sitting on an unbelievable amount of market intelligence because they're hearing the objections, the questions, the frustrations, the concerns. That's your content strategy. It's sitting right there.
Totally.
Instead, marketing is sometimes sitting in another room or another wing, trying to figure out what they should post next Thursday, put those 2 groups together. Suddenly the content gets better and the sales conversions get easier.
Man, you just dropped so many nuggets in there. One of which being, that's exactly why we encourage our teams. Marketing should be their BFF. The very first thing that you should be asking sales, what are your roadblocks? What are your objections? Why didn't you get that last deal? Or even on the hotel sales side, why didn't you close that last event? 80% of what was sales is marketing. We're doing so much more of the sales process DIY. And I think a lot of sellers still have not grasped that. And now oftentimes, now we throw AI in the mix. It was enough 3 years ago, but now we're going straight to chat. We're getting 3 to 5 recommendations. We're no longer clicking on those blue links. And guess who's fueling the short list on the AI patients,
so
right?
It's funny because your industry, it's so easy to get business. So if someone it is, but
You're right.
think about this. I think that you should be reverse engineering who you want as a customer and then narrow it down who makes the decision in those companies. Now, you know all these things, right? So
people are scared to say that. They say everybody's our ideal customer.
Yeah, it's when you go to a restaurant and you ask the waiter what's good and he says everything. I know immediately nothing's good.
Exactly.
So you know all that, right? So then you list your top 10 people that you want to go after. I don't mean you want to go after people that are unreachable, people that are reachable and people that are your targets. Okay. So then you go on to see who's active out of those 10 people on social media, not just LinkedIn. I'm talking all of social media. Let's see who they're like as a human. What do they like? And then form your content around that. Like, it's so simple. It's crazy. And don't gatekeep anything. Just give it all away. Trust me when I say you will look like the thought leader of all thought leaders if you just give away all your best stuff.
But Scott, if I give away pricing, I want you to click that button and it says call for pricing. You have to book a demo to see any kind of price.
You don't, when I say give everything away, I don't mean you have to have a price tag on your forehead. Talk about why your B2B product, whatever it is, better than the rest of the industry. Listen, in B2B world, the content sucks. The salespeople suck because all they know how to do is sell. They don't know how to tell stories. So it wouldn't take a rocket scientist to be at the top of the list of B2B salesmen.
You're absolutely right. Now, I will push back. Every B2B company should be talking about pricing. Yes, you don't have to pigeonhole yourself and specifically put the price, but you should not be afraid to at least talk about what influences.
What's your downside? What's your downside? They're not a customer yet.
Totally.
Your downside is zero.
And by the way, you can't gatekeep that anyways, because if you ask chat, can you give me a ballpark range on what Scott's?
They're going to give it to you.
And it may not be right, correct?
So you might as well be upfront with it.
Exactly. This is a great segue into this next question because you tipped your hand a little bit here, Scott. Why are hospitality sellers still chasing buyers instead of attracting them, my man?
Because chasing people is easier to measure.
Yes.
That's really what I think it comes down to. You can tell somebody to make 50 calls, send 100 emails, book 10 meetings. And at the end of the week, you got numbers. You can justify. You can put it in a spreadsheet. Yay! We sold nothing, but these are all the things that I got. Who cares?
Does it show the number of the people you annoyed by that approach these days?
It's the same number. It's times 2. So building reputation, authority, familiarity, it takes longer. And it's harder to point at one specific thing and say, Vic created this sale. But just because something is easier to measure doesn't mean it's more effective. Look at how we behave ourselves. Nobody wakes up in the morning hoping to get 25 unsolicited sales emails. Nobody is sitting there thinking, God, I hope 6 strangers call me today and pitch me something. We hate receiving most of this stuff.
Absolutely.
Yet somehow, when we get to work, we convince ourselves that everybody else wants to receive this from me. That makes absolutely no sense.
I know.
I'm not saying outbound sales is dead, because it's not.
It's not. No, absolutely not.
Sometimes you absolutely should pick up the phone. Sometimes you should send that email. Sometimes you should walk across the conference floor and introduce yourself. But imagine how different an interaction would be when the person already knows who you are.
I knew you were going to say that, but
if I've spent the last year talking intelligently about the problems that you deal with every single day, then send you an email, that's not really a cold email anymore. It's warmish.
That's what we...
You might have never met me, but I'm familiar to you.
Yep.
You've heard my opinions. You've seen how I think, and you've watched me talk to people you respect. You watch my videos on LinkedIn. You watch all the stuff. You watch me on other platforms, because I just pointed out that humans are on other platforms. They're not only on LinkedIn, B2B people. It's crazy. Look, this is the way I do business. And it's the way I've done business for the past 17 years. It may not work for everybody, but it works for me. It takes longer, a lot longer, but I promise you my relationships are deeper than most people's in the industry. I am ridiculously active on social. I get probably 95% of my business from incoming, opted in, unsolicited DMs and emails after they watch my content on social. It's not after they watch one video. It's not after they watch one post. It's after months, years of me pounding something down, like personalization, just whatever it is, marketing, social media, hotels, wake up, like whatever the fact is, I post a ridiculous amount of content every single day. Okay, here's my strategy. Let's talk about LinkedIn because your people they live like this.
Whoa, wait a minute. Hold on. Let's not get into strategy yet.
Okay. All right.
Okay. Because I do want your tips. So let's wait.
Okay.
Let's wait for that to the end.
All right.
I want to just add a little bit to that. I completely
Okay.
agree with everything you said. It no longer makes prospecting cold when people are familiar and you've built some level of familiarity and trust. Now, here's one thing I think a lot of people are not realizing either. AI is becoming the new gatekeeper. Even if you have that conversation, you bust through the gatekeeper, you have a conversation. What happens is if you're not actively creating your personal brand, building content, building trust online, and then these people go to vet you before signing that 5 or 6, sometimes large figure deal, they go to vet you, they can't find you, they can't find any recommendations. That is all done through creating that content. If you're not doing that, and all of your efforts of you're pushing yourself on them and not attracting them could be all for naught. In fact, it could be worse because you're spending so much time, so much effort breaking through, getting to the bottom part of the pipeline, and suddenly they decided to pass on you because they can't vet you online. I do it now with myself. If I'm going to do a deal with an attorney or realtor, anybody that's substantial, I vet them online. And sometimes they have not matched up to somebody that's given me a direct referral. So that is coming hot and heavy. And I think that's going to be a game changer. And that's going to be one of the things that we just normally do before we make any large purchase decisions.
Yeah, agreed.
Should every hospitality seller be building an audience or a personal brand?
But I would replace the word audience with reputation.
Yep.
Because audience makes people immediately think about follower count. You don't need 100,000 followers, 1 million followers. If there are only 500 people in the entire hospitality industry who could realistically buy what you sell, I'd rather have 300 of those, 200 of those, even 100 of those than 100,000 people that couldn't buy from me, even if they wanted to. The size of the audience is nowhere near as important as who's actually in it. And building that reputation doesn't mean everybody suddenly needs to become an influencer. It's not what it means.
Totally.
Okay? That's where people get hung up. They hear the word personal brand, they hear the word content, think I'm telling them to dance on TikTok. I'm saying to talk about the business you're supposed to be an expert in, being a thought leader. Be the person that people come to answer their questions. Answer the questions that customers keep asking you.
Yep.
Talk about the problems you're seeing. Explain something complicated in a way that a 5-year-old can understand. Tell me why you disagree with something happening in the industry. Give me perspective that I wouldn't get from reading your company's brochure. The biggest problem I see with a lot of professional content is that the people are terrified to have an opinion.
God, totally. Especially
everything gets watered down.
Yep.
Nobody could possibly disagree with it. And unfortunately, that means nobody remembers it. You don't need everybody in hospitality to agree with you. You don't even need everybody to like you. You need the right people to understand how you think, what you know, and what you stand for. That's a much more valuable asset than simply having a big following number sitting next to your name.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, because the industry is definitely riddled with a lot of agreement and yes people, right? But would you also agree, Scott, maybe that's one of the reasons why hospitality has not really progressed? Because we are scared to really say what needs to be said at sometimes. And again, before we jumped on here, I mentioned how much I appreciate you really tackling some of these issues that need to be talked about in a very respectful but bold manner. And I do appreciate that approach. And you're at 100%. I relate being a personal brand is the old school of building that. Remember you were hired on your side of your Rolodex?
Yeah.
What happened? What happened to that? That used to be essentially building that personal brand is really just building it, like you had mentioned before, replacing the word audience with reputation. And there's no better way to do that than talk about your prospects' challenges, problems, and most importantly, how you can help solve them and make them the hero. And I don't know why there's so many smart people in the industry, but they're just afraid to put themselves out there. I get it. It's hard sometimes to pick up this smartphone, hit record, but it's like a muscle. The more that you do it, the easier it gets.
Of course it is.
And I tell this all the time. It's a lot. Putting myself on video is a lot easier than picking up the phone and making a cold call with somebody I don't know, right?
Listen, if you can't do it with video, do voiceover. If you can't do it with voiceover, do written. Just do something.
Yep.
And the only way it's going to matter is if you do it consistently.
Totally.
You telling me you don't have enough thoughts or you're not knowledgeable enough in the industry to put out one post a day? Are you joking? And then they say, oh, okay, I'll do it Monday to Friday. Like, why? Humans don't look at some of my biggest posts have popped on Sundays.
Totally.
Like, why not take advantage when everybody else is thinking Monday to Friday? Take it. I don't understand. What are people waiting for?
You're absolutely right. And I think conversations like this, Scott, and I think it's been the receipts because hospitality is obsessed with attribution. If you do one action here, I want to see the cash register over here. And what we just talked about, you said it takes time. It's like a 401k in business. You need to make those daily deposits and watch that grow. But building that personal brand, and I dare to say it, that's something you own and you control. Your business doesn't control it. I can't tell you how many times I've had conversations with people that said, oh my gosh, I've had amazing offers. People want to hire me because of my content I put out there on LinkedIn. So you're doing that for yourself and you're bringing, it's not necessarily just for your company. And you're right. I don't know what's holding people back. They sit in LinkedIn in the shadows, liking posts. They don't even comment for the most part. I'll see one of your posts with 100 likes, no comments. I'm like, what? Yeah. Where is the conversation?
Ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
It's mind blowing. I just don't understand why people are not jumping in the conversation. It's like going to a networking event, going to an MPI, going to high tech and sitting in the corner and not engaging on conversation. You can network just like you can at any other trade shows. And I would argue oftentimes more efficiently on LinkedIn. And make yourself, you're in person, even that much better because when you walk into the show, people come to you. And I think the conversations like we're having right now, it's helping people really open their eyes and say, it is worth it. It is worth spending the 15, 30 minutes a day over coffee. And it's a non-negotiable. I've got to create content. And
here's the problem. People don't see social media as being important.
Yep.
They see it as a nice to have.
Yep.
Here's how I live my life. Everything in my life, it doesn't matter if I'm talking about taking a shower and shaving in the morning, getting on a client call, recording my podcast, or going for a morning walk. Those are all equally important. Everything I do is equally important. So for that matter, I also live and die by my calendar. If it's not in my calendar, it doesn't happen. So if social media, if you recognize or you want to recognize, let's just say, that social media should be an integral part of your life, take out 10, 15 minutes per day, 1 or 2 times a day, whereas all you do, nothing else, you're just on social, you're engaging with new people, you're creating a content, you're posting something, just so it's in your calendar. Because I can promise you, all the people that say, oh yeah, but I just don't have time, they don't value it. They don't value it as important and they've never put it in the calendar. I bet as soon as you start to put it in your calendar, I bet you'll see things start to change.
100%. Even if you just reallocated that time that you're on Facebook or Instagram to LinkedIn, because it's twofold, right? I think you get as much enjoyment. You had mentioned you share a lot of personal stories on LinkedIn.
I do.
I think people have got this stigma is LinkedIn has to be buttoned up and too personal. I said it's complete BS. You can get both your dopamine from the lifestyle stuff you would normally post on Facebook, reallocate that time if in fact that you're spending that onto LinkedIn and you're going to get the results and get that kind of that personal fix as well, right?
I couldn't agree more. And I'll say it until I'm dead. I also think that B2B has a place on every platform. It's different. you may not get immediate results. But can you imagine if you take a B2B topics, like, I don't know, top 5 problems in the B2B world, okay? And I'm talking to them and I'm speaking to the camera and I'm shooting a video for LinkedIn, right? It's a 5-minute video, whatever. And I'm giving my thoughts on the industry. Say I do that video again, but in a more casual sort of way for Instagram. And say I do another short clip, maybe for Threads. Threads is blowing up right now. YouTube Shorts is blowing up right now. I want to be everywhere. I just don't want to be, I'm active on every platform.
But wouldn't you also agree before, because when a company, and most aren't even active and doing a good job on LinkedIn, should ask for at least one channel first, because I do agree.
I think that you should concentrate on 2 because, and the reason I say that is because if something happens on that platform and just something is gone wrong or whatever, you need to leverage 2 separate channels just to be safe. Now, whether you want to do YouTube Shorts and LinkedIn, it's great.
Yep.
Whatever you want to concentrate on. And then every once in a while, throw something on Threads, The growth on Threads is unbelievable. I don't know if you've taken advantage of that. But, and again, it's not business content, but I like to go against the grain. I don't like to be where everybody else is going. Like, you never know what kind of fish you're going to get.
No, true. But it talks about the mindset have to be there, Scott, because
of course.
So if you're going to take that approach, you also have to take off the restraints and be able to be and go full edutainment, right? Because if you're going to go that direction, it has to be content that's not.
Listen, I got news for you. I understand that the whole reason for your crowd to post something on LinkedIn is to get business. But first and foremost, if you're not entertaining, even if it's on LinkedIn, you're dead in the water anyway.
Yep. Yeah.
Nobody is responding to something like this when I speak about the industry. Come on, man. Have a personality. Who cares?
Totally. No, it's everybody's going to remember what I said days ago, right?
You're gonna have fun with it.
Totally. All right. This leads us into the 4th question. And by the way, I'm going to add a 5th question here because I do want your top 3 tips on how sellers can get into this game. But before we do that, what's one sacred cow in hospitality sales we need to kill?
I'd probably go after the idea that relationships alone are enough. Hospitality loves saying this. This is a relationship business.
Totally.
And obviously relationships are incredibly important. I'm not arguing against relationships at all, but I do think that we've used that phrase for years as an excuse not to modernize how we sell. Knowing everybody at the conference isn't a sales strategy.
Totally.
Having drinks with somebody 3 times a year isn't a sales strategy.
Bingo.
Being friends with the buyer doesn't automatically mean you're the best solution to their problem. I look at it this way. Relationships can get you access. Relevance gets you considered. Results are what get you retained. You need all 3. And there's another problem with relying completely on relationships that nobody really talks about. What happens when your contact leaves? You spent 10 years building this incredible relationship with somebody, then they take another job tomorrow, maybe in another industry. And then suddenly you're starting from scratch with a new person. If your entire pipeline exists inside individual relationships, rather than having a broader reputation in the whole marketplace, that's a huge vulnerability. So I wouldn't kill relationship selling. I'd kill the belief that relationship selling is enough. Keep going to dinner, keep attending conferences, keep knowing people, but build authority around those relationships so that when somebody new takes over, they already know who you are too.
Totally. I heard a influencer drop this bomb and say, people don't necessarily need to like you to do business with you, but they must trust you.
Of course, 100%.
And so I held my nose and worked with somebody I didn't necessarily personally, but I trusted them because I knew they would bring me results. And I went, now being liked is that cherry on top, right? If you got pulled, you're rocking, but you're absolutely 100%. The schmoozing I think days are over, because what I just talked about earlier, before anybody signs that agreement, because I just mentioned before, somebody gave me a direct referral for a realtor and said, you got to talk to this guy. He's amazing. He's fantastic. I went and vetted him online. AI, it changed my mind. I'm like, this guy did not match up online with what my friend told me. And they were buddies. This modern element is going to, trust is going to be increasingly more important. I could not agree with you more. I'm going to go with two really quickly. In hotel sales, massive friction. If you go to a hotel meetings and events pages of the website, you can't find FAQs, you can't find answers to your questions. They force you into a long, eye-bleeding RFP process to just simply reach out. The brands are the biggest offenders. So much friction on the meetings and events side when you've got a prospect wanting to spend 5-6 figures of business, and you're playing so hard to get that person early on in the funnel. Most hotel prospects have a ton of traffic going to their site. They're pushing people away because of massive friction. Secondly, hotel vendors. They've got a trade show only mentality, Scott. Spending 6 figures on going to trade shows, doing the schmoozing like we talked about, putting all of their eggs in that trade show basket, and they don't have a content marketing strategy that fuels AI discovery. They spend all of the time into the conferences and trade shows. So much less of that business is being converted during the show because of what we just talked about. They may see a new product or service, find it's interesting, but they're going home, they're doing their vetting. Guess what? The whole thing's blowing apart because they've got no social proof. They've got no testimonials. They've got no content. All of that work and effort for naught. So I wanted to get your takes for what we talked about for somebody that finds this conversation and wants to take action. Can you maybe give us your top 3 tips on somebody that wants to get into this game before we get into our rapid fire, by the way?
First off, this industry has a very big, boring problem. So,
and we're hospitality, for crying out loud.
Yeah, listen, first thing you have to do is you have to audit the buying journey like you're actually the customer. This sounds ridiculously simple, but most hospitality companies don't do it. Go to your own website, pretending you know absolutely nothing about the company, or tell a friend to do it. Try to book a meeting, try to understand the product, try to find pricing guidance, try to find answers to basic questions. Try to contact a human being. See how that does for you.
Totally.
See how many clicks, forms, hoops you're trying to force somebody through. We spend a fortune generating demand, then build obstacle courses like we're in the Olympics. Like, what are you doing?
Totally.
All right. Next, stop treating trade shows as a strategy. Make them fuel the strategy. I'm not anti-trade show at all. I'm a little bit. Just because I just see the money that's being spent. It's just ridiculous. I'm anti spending 6 figures on a trade show and having almost nothing to show for it 3 weeks later.
Yep.
You've already paid for access to your industry's customers, executives, partners, and the smartest people. Why aren't you capturing that? Interview customers, film your executives. Like how? So I went to high tech for the first time this year, right? And I'm not a hospitality tech person. I don't understand tech, but I had loads of people coming up to me. Hey, I follow you on LinkedIn. But I'm walking around, I'm seeing all these massive boots, $250,000 boots, easily.
Yep.
Easily.
Yep.
The only content people that I saw was for the event, and the event doesn't even have good content. Like, how do these companies, how do you spend $250,000 on a thing and you don't hire a videographer and a photographer to walk around and get handshaking with customers and video clips? And like, are you crazy?
Totally.
A 3-day conference should be able to fuel 3 months of marketing, if not more. Because
set up. Yeah, you're ready. The stage is set.
Somebody meets you, likes what you're selling, flies home, starts researching you, and then they find a boring LinkedIn page, a generic website, and 3 press releases from 5 years ago, whatever. So let's move on.
Yep.
Build for the research phase.
Yes,
because
sir.
that's where B2B is moving.
Yep.
This is one that I think hospitality seriously needs to wake up about. Your prospect is researching you before they're talking to you to sell. After they're done talking to you, the sales, so they're probably talking to your competitors right after that, right? And increasingly, some of that research isn't even happening through Google. It's happening through AI. So ask yourself, if somebody asks AI platform, who are the experts in my category? What solutions exist, how they compare, and who has credible results? Does my company even exist in that answer? You can't suddenly manufacture authority when somebody is ready to buy. You build that footprint over time, day by day, useful content, customer stories, executive expertise, testimonials, case studies. You saw what I posted, I think 3 or 4 days ago. I asked ChatGPT, who are the thought leaders in hospitality and marketing and all these credibilities. And I think I was out of the top 25. I think I came in 23 or whatever, but I was on the list. I was so happy. Oh, and I put everybody on there and just to see what was coming up. I mean, like, how often are you auditing yourself? How often are you auditing your life? How often are you auditing your daily schedule to make sure you have those 5, 10, 15-minute sections where you're just on social? You know, I mean, it's a lot easier than people make it sound.
No, and you're right. You hit it right on the head. To get visibility, it's not, you don't make one big set and forget it deposit. Suddenly you start ranking, and it is a long play.
Yeah.
And the longer these companies sit in the shadows and do nothing and still show up at trade shows,
Correct.
and this is where, ironically, B2B and B2C becoming very similar because it's the same discovery, right? If I'm trying to find a 4-night stay for my family in San Diego, I'm going to do the same thing.
Correct.
And ironically, that same process, AI is making that process so much easier. So what would be that first step? Say you are a seller in hospitality, you're sick of cold calling, you're getting rejected, you need to try something new. You're getting pressure from your CEO because you haven't closed the deal or booked a piece of business in a while. And you're like, I don't like what I'm doing. I've had enough. I need to start doing something right now. What would that be?
Audit your life. So check your digital infrastructure. How are you set up digitally? Do you have a personal brand website? Okay. That might be not the case for most of your people, but how does your Instagram look? How does your Facebook look? How does your LinkedIn look? When you Google your name, what pops up? When you ChatGPT your name, your business, your company, your services, what pops up? Make sure that you're all set. Okay. Your digital infrastructure is the most important thing in the world. Now, second, you need to really take social media seriously because content is the engine that will take your business to the next level.
Definitely.
Stop looking at it for fun and look at it as a business. I run $1 million a year business and I was a C- student in high school. I never went to college. I just go all in on content. I get 95% of my business from social media. The other 5% are referrals from social media.
Totally.
Like, it's easy. It's not difficult.
No, it just takes that mindset shift. That's a great suggestion. I would say start commenting, get into the conversations, even before
The ROI lives in the comments.
Yeah, totally.
In the comments.
So yes, I think step one would be audit your life and do exactly what you said. But even before start posting, I would just get used to just thoughtfully comment, not use AI preempted.
And yeah, stop with the one word, read something, give a couple sentences, like talk like a human.
Totally.
And the reason I also say audit your life is like, when was the last time you changed your profile picture? Stop with these stuffy, boring, like ridiculous profile pictures from 20 years ago. You don't look like that now. Update it. Phones are incredible now. Just take a picture of your face, not with glasses, not on the beach, just say normal. You don't have to be wearing a 3-piece suit, but like in a well-lit area. So I will never, ever accept a request from somebody who doesn't have a clear profile picture, ever. Like, why would I, if you can't spend the time to take a proper picture of yourself so people can know who you are, why on earth would I want to be connected to you?
And likewise, when you see the very first word under their name for title is sales, new business development. What do you,
Like, you're a human.
totally.
It's not, it's H to H. You're
Exactly.
humans selling to humans. Come on.
That's funny because my partner Susan has that in her title, H to H.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Wonderful. All right. Let's jump into rapid fire. I want your quick, bold takes on cold calling.
It still works, but I would never want my entire sales strategy built around interrupting strangers.
Couldn't agree with you more. We just talked about this, trade shows.
Absolutely, but walking around a ballroom collecting business cards isn't a strategy. You need to have a clear strategy, and unless you have the most amazing product in the world, I do not see value in getting a booth. I would just take all your people, have them there, roaming the crowds and schmoozing and really developing relationships, because I know this is rapid fire, but like I go on rants.
Yep.
Like, it's ridiculous. Everybody's excited at a conference. I don't go to conferences unless I'm speaking, because I feel that like they're incredible wastes of time. Like, everybody's friends, everybody's going to parties, everybody's going to happy hour, everybody's going for drinks, all right, that's fun, but it's not a conference. I can do that with my friends anywhere in the world.
Totally.
Like, everybody's excited, and then you never hear from these people again.
That's
Like, it's a joke.
So too. And
a
then you
joke.
walk, like at high tech, you walk down the aisles, and I feel like I'm like at a carnival. They're sitting and they're trying to attract you over to their game.
With a bowl of Snickers,
And
like
chopped-
I'm a child. Here's the thing. Don't get me wrong. I like Snickers. I'll take your candy bar. But like, it's just like, I've found high tech to be incredibly boring. Now, I understand I'm not in that world, and I understand like I'm part of Gain Advisors, and Gain's deeply in that world.
Yeah, I was going to ask you
And
that.
every one of their clients is there. But like, for me, I found like it was boring. Like, really, nobody was doing anything that was interesting.
Which I think they're going to need to reimagine a trade show, by the way, and that'll be for a different conversation. Yeah. We already touched on that. LinkedIn personal brands, or personal brands in general.
Absolutely. And especially in B2B hospitality, people connect with people before they connect with logos. I'd much rather hear an interesting perspective from a CEO, salesperson, or operator who actually knows the subject than see another corporate graphic telling me how to get excited the company is about to announce something. Woo-wee! Yay! And
oh, it's hard to do content because my CEO wants to approve my every post that I do.
Okay, so sit down on a Saturday, take half of your Saturday, record 10 videos, and send it to them. So what's the problem?
Completely.
Just
agree.
have a personality. You don't, just because, and I don't necessarily mean B2B is boring, but just because you think that you're in a boring industry, that does not mean your content needs to be boring. I don't care if you're selling paper clips. You can make them exciting.
AI prospecting.
Incredible tool, already being horribly abused. AI should help you research people better, understand companies faster, identify opportunities. What it should not do is allow you to send 10,000 terrible emails instead of 1,000 terrible emails.
Completely agree. It's a lot of sellers have sold their soul and their reputation and their trust because of AI. I think appropriate application is needed. Corporate social media, Scott.
Necessary. And I think everybody does it wrong. Not everybody, 90%.
Yeah.
Here's a good example. So I pay attention to every industry, not just hospitality. And I get most of my ideas from industries that are outside of hospitality, because I feel that the reason I'm good in hospitality is because I came from investment banking, where the only thing I was taught is sales. So this is like a cakewalk. This is like a dope to me.
Totally.
So easy, because all you got to do is sell, but you're selling in a fun way and telling stories. This is a joke. So I'll tell everybody that's watching this video, look up the Blackstone account on Instagram. Their CEO, I think he's the CEO, COO, something like that, John Gray. He is the most authentic leader that you're ever going to find in a monster. Talk about a company that like rules the world. They have their eggs in every basket. This guy runs through Central Park, jogging, like taking his phone, like talking and doing videos. That guy's the most authentic guy you're ever going to see in your entire life. So if you ever want an idea on how to sound on social media, take it from him. Take it from a multi tens of billions of dollars company. If he can do it, I promise you, everybody in the B2B space, you guys can do it too.
And by the way, Blackstone is also a huge hotel owner.
They own everything. They're in every industry. Absolutely. If this guy can do it, this guy is so busy, I can tell you right now, nobody watching this video is as busy as that guy. Nobody.
Yep, you're absolutely right.
Come on.
And
he's great. He's great.
Yeah, and I think enjoying the process matters, right?
Have fun with it.
And when you enjoy it, you tend to do it and it won't become a burden to you. And I noticed in my own personal life, I tend to push things off or it's not a priority. But I genuinely love creating content and doing it on LinkedIn. I've got so many amazing people here. Gated content.
Most of the time, get rid of it. We've somehow decided that before I can read 6 pages of information, I need to give you my name, my company, my email, my phone number, job title, half my life story, just so you can immediately put me in a sales sequence. Come on, man. You will never see me gatekeep anything. I give away all my best stuff for free. I give away complete. If you ever wanted a social media strategy, is all you got to do is screenshot my posts because it's all you need. The reason people hire me is for the personalized service. But I give away everything that I do in my life that I charge money for. I give away in my LinkedIn posts. And it does not slow down customers contacting me.
No, because even when you give them the playbook,
they're lazy. Nobody's going to do it anyway.
Totally.
It's the best. It's the best.
Product demos.
Yes, but only after you understand my problem.
Love it. Absolutely. RFP.
Sometimes they're necessary, especially with larger organizations, but I think they can be a terrible way to buy innovation.
Agree. Ironically, most other industries, including marketing agencies, if you're responding to RFPs in marketing, usually you desperately need work, and that's not there's such a low conversion.
Correct.
And ironically, when it comes to hotel sales, Scott, I don't know if you knew about this, and most hotels don't even know what their conversion rate. Average conversion rate on RFP in group sales for hotels is 5%. Most hotels don't even know what their own personal CVent posted those numbers. The amount of time and effort it takes to work on a proposal and see only 5% converting. If you extrapolate that over a year's amount of time, all the capital, all the time, all the resources it takes to fight for a proposal that's been sent out to 25 hotels, rather than reallocate that and building your own line. Again, that's a whole nother conversation. Thought leadership.
Love the concept. Hate what we've done to the phrase. Thought leadership actually requires an actual thought. If you're repeating the same 5 trends everybody else heard at the conference, you're creating content, that's fine, but let's not pretend you're leading anybody's thinking.
Completely agree. All right, seller of the future, hunter, marketer, or creator?
If you're forcing me to choose one, marketer, because I think that the modern seller needs to understand attention, psychology, storytelling, positioning, distribution, relationships, and timing. They'll still hunt when they need to, and they'll absolutely create, but the bigger skill is understanding how people become aware of you, how they become trusting you, and what eventually moves them towards a buying decision.
I would go with marketer as well, because obviously the hunter mentality is important, but because of all the things that we talked about before, 20 years ago, they have that gumption and that drive to the ABC, always be closing mentality worked. And now we're seeing that whole model blow up. And unfortunately, there's still a lot of misunderstanding. People are beginning to realize what's going on, because they're beginning to look at through the prospect's perspective, putting their shoes on. I hope more do that. Luckily for some of the people that we work with, we've been in the whole notion of inbound marketing for 10 years now, and it's just now hitting full stride, ironically. So I could not agree with you more on that. Hey, this has been a great conversation. I knew it would. Before we break, can you tell us what you've been up to lately, where you are right now, and where can people find you?
So I've been in New York for the past few weeks. I think I'm going to be up here another week or two. And then mid-September, I'll be shooting and filming at a resort in Colorado, just outside of Aspen. And then I fly to Sicily. I'm speaking at a conference there and attending another conference in Milan. And then I'm speaking at a conference at the end of November in Bangkok. And we'll probably spend the holidays over there and New Year's.
Wonderful. Where in our audience or anybody listening to this video find you?
I am at Mr. Scott Eddy on every platform, and that's also my website, mrscotteddy.com. Easy to find.
Beautiful. Hey, man, I really appreciate you joining me on InSync. I can't.
Thanks so much, man.
Hopefully we can party again sometime soon.
So it's fun.
Absolutely. And have a great rest of the week, and we'll catch you soon, man.
I appreciate it, bro.
All right, brother. Take care.